Go. So I was just telling you earlier, like I was just thinking like how you can solve like majority of your problems just by speaking to yourself. And like what I would mean by speaking to yourself, like being your own best friend. And so when people think about it, they don't really do anything when they have problems, but just overthink. And so when you think out loud, it kind of gives you like the mental clarity you need. And so like as being self-aware, for instance, you're going through a heartbreak and you're just sad all the time. You really don't reflect back on like what you need to do to be happy again. Being
You're just
sad.
like, I'm just sad.
Or you're the type of person where you're just like, I'm sad, but I need to go and do something to stop thinking about it, versus sit with it, and stuff.
Processing.
So like when I think about like most of the problems we have, they're like first world problems. It's not like they're problems that can't be solved. It's just that we don't really be okay with who we are. Let's like talk to ourselves. So for me, I'm okay with like just speaking to myself out loud. That's why I always notice like, how do people get so comfortable talking on camera?
You talk to yourself already. So putting a camera up.
Yeah. And
Now you have a friend that you're talking to.
And so like you'll be more comfortable with those conversations and stuff too. Like, for instance, like I told myself before I didn't like my voice. So I thought it was like too girly and stuff. But then I realized I can change my voice.
Yeah.
I don't have to use the same voice all the time. It's almost like being my authentic self. Like I can be anybody I want to be. Like any different personality can come out. It's not like the same person all around, stuff too. You feel that?
Feel that. Although I should try that. I really don't talk out loud, talk to myself. And that would probably help because I think I do struggle with like negative self-talk aloud. So if I said it aloud, I'd be like, damn, girl, like actually hearing it out loud, it's kind of like, why do you talk to yourself like that?
Right. Let's say, for instance, like sometimes we can't control our thoughts. And so I know for me, when I'm by myself, I'll just be overthinking. And then I'll have to catch myself. I'm like, why are you even thinking about that?
Yeah.
Then I don't have the answer.
Yeah. So it's like, okay.
It's a pointless thought. Like, you're just like, oh, shoot, I'm just like talking to myself and I really don't even know. I'm thinking about stuff. I don't even know why I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And stuff too. So like, I learned when I do that, don't be so hard on yourself.
That's true. Like acknowledge the thought, let it pass sort of thing.
Because like if you too hard on yourself, you go against yourself, it's hard for you to feel good about who you are.
Yeah.
So like I always tell myself, forgive yourself well and often. Because when you forgive yourself well and often, it's not like you are not trying to change. Like you've been trying to become better at who you are as a person. And so you're letting go of the things that don't serve you.
Yeah.
Especially like with the relationships with people and stuff too. Like I always say to myself, like, I don't like give my energy away to anybody because it seems like everybody doesn't deserve it. Like I am me because I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. Yeah. And so like I want to be around people that inspire me to be a better person. I'd be like, you drink some water today? You sure drink a lot of alcohol? You drink a lot? Yeah. Because like nobody thinks about that kind of stuff. They're just like, oh, let's get messed up. Let's do whatever. But they don't ever think about like friends that actually are there for them to hold them accountable. And you're just like, oh, they're always nagging about something or they trigger me. Because sometimes people are triggered by people who want them, but they don't see it that way. They only like certain parts of them. I always notice like, for me, people only like certain parts of me. They like the part of me that is giving or that is kind and stuff too. They don't like the part that holds them accountable. They're not like the part that, reminds them of the stuff they said they're going to do and they're still not doing it.
Yeah.
And they're just like out drinking and smoking. And I'm like, that stuff is fine and all, but like you got to have like, some kind of balance. Yeah. Like, you got to have balance. Like I always tell myself, you need to have self-discipline and you need to have structure in your life if you want to be successful.
Yeah. I could work on the discipline. The structure is there, but
And
But
so,
I also feel like that comes to like who you're surrounding yourself with, because if you're like, for example, for us, like I feel like we're both into fitness and things like that. So that's definitely something that will keep you on track and keep you, you know, away from doing things that maybe would not be like good for you.
Yeah.
But if you're not surrounded by that, then that's not what you're gonna do.
like, I feel like a lot of like young people, they don't realize they lack self-discipline and lack structure because in their childhood, they never healed from it, which was their parents allowed them to get everything they wanted, you know, allowed them to do everything they wanted to do. And that really gave them that structure to be like, you know, this is what you should be doing and stuff too. And so as you get older, if you never heal from that, it's always something that will hinder you as you get older until you keep getting the test until you learn the lesson.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what advice would you have for somebody that feels like they're maybe lacking in discipline and wants to try to like better that space?
I feel like just being self-aware, like being okay talking to yourself, going to therapy, asking yourself those questions that you haven't asked yourself before. Example, like, what am I avoiding? You know, what are my triggers? Instead of running away from the things, you know, facing them head on. You know, that's how you build your confidence.
Yeah.
Because that's how you believe in yourself. Like, if you don't really believe in yourself, then nobody else will.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for you to be like, oh, I'm getting somewhere in life I want to be and I'm pushing through. I'm just going to make sure I'm still recording.
Yeah.
And it still is, and it's so good.
Okay, and I'm in the frame.
Yeah, it's
Like-
different. I know. This is my first time doing this, so
Oh,
I'm
good. Yeah.
But like, I feel like if you do want that, truly want that, I feel like God, universe, the source will like align you with people like that to inspire you to be on that level.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because you want to surround yourself around people that you want to be like.
Yeah.
Or have what you want. You don't necessarily have to be them, but at least be in their vicinity.
Yeah. And that concept of like never wanting to be the biggest and the best in the room.
Like we all equal.
Yeah.
We all equal. Like everybody brings something valuable to the table. Like not everybody, not better than anybody. You know, like everybody has their own unique talents and gifts. And so when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, I like to be around so-and-so because they remind me of this, this, and this, and this too. And when I leave them, I feel such a good vibe. You know, I feel good. I feel inspired to do something. You know, I feel better about myself. And that energy lingers on, you know, versus someone where you're just like, oh, let's link up. I'm going to avoid my problems. Let's just go and drink and do drugs and, you know, talk about absolutely nothing and just avoid all the problems. And I wonder why you can't heal. Wonder why your life is feeling like it's in so much turmoil because you haven't taken the time to become self-aware, like what you're doing every day.
Yeah.
And so when you're self-disciplined, you know, like, damn, let me be around people that actually want me to do better. Who have structure, you do what you need to do first and then have fun.
Yeah.
It's not always fun.
That's true. There needs to be, because then the fun moments aren't fun anymore.
It becomes like void. You're just like, damn, like, what can I do now?
Yeah.
But when you take the time to like structure, like let me focus on becoming a better person, a better version of myself, and then go out and have fun, then it's kind of like
A reward.
earn my reward.
Yeah. That's me. I have to like gamify everything, which like, you know, could sometimes be problematic, but like if that works for you and you do it in a healthy way, then like,
Problematic? What do you mean? Like,
well, just like some things you just have to do because you just have to do. There doesn't need to be a little sweet treat at the end, bitch. Like, you just need to do it because you need to do it. You don't get to have a little, you know? So sometimes there's, I think, a fine line, but I think in most cases, if you know how to moderate, you know, it's a good thing. Like, oh, I worked really hard this week. Okay, then I am going to go have that one drink with friends or, you know, or I had to study. I finished my studying. So now I'm going to have me a little sweet treat. Like, to make life fun, but also be aware of the you know.
That feels so good. Cause like, it's almost like when people don't realize, like with your body, like you have to be okay with earning your reward. Like you said, like have a treat, but also eat healthy throughout the week.
Right.
So you can sustain your energy and not overdo it, you know, with food and stuff too. Cause realize you can't eat mozzarella sticks for lunch and be like, oh, why am I just losing weight? You know, like where's the nutritional value in mozzarella sticks?
Yeah.
You know, or where's the nutritional value in a bag of chips? You know, you're just putting like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but like, you know, ask yourself, like be self-aware, like, if I eat these chips, how would I feel afterwards?
Yeah.
You
You'll
know?
feel good during, and then afterwards you'll be like,
You feel like, And I always tell my, like, I know some people like, have those bag of chips, but take a ginger shot afterwards. Take a turmeric shot afterwards. Like, you're not going to be
you and the turmeric.
Because like, if you do, it's kind of like you're balancing it out. It's not you know, you don't cancel out your workout.
Mm-hmm.
And also your body is able to be like, oh, okay, well, you're trying to be better.
Yeah.
You know, like, cause you want a flat tummy, you want abbies,
Mm-hmm.
you want a nice body.
Yeah.
And so like, I feel like if you do that, it's kind of like, you won't be so hard on yourself when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, love and like yourself while you're in the process of changing.
Yes. Period.
That was so good.